What's your very poor choice of words moment to you or someone else? I had a friend whose standard greeting between us was "How's it hanging?" Not sure why. It was just always our opener. I went to his uncle's funeral and when I saw him it just came out. At the funeral of a man who hung himself. It's one of those moments that hits me randomly at 3 a.m. nearly a decade later. How'd she react to it? Him, his mother and 3 people I didn't know all heard it. They all reacted the same. Just blankly stared at me. I wanted the ground to swallow me up. At least you didn't follow up with, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry." Hang in there, buddy. Had an amazing first date with a guy the first really felt a connection with. I was running a 10K the next morning so we didn't stay out too late. At the end of the date, he says this was fun. Well, good luck. Quote. I was taken aback, thinking I had grossly misunderstood our connection and muttered thanks. He quickly realized what he had said and replied, I meant with the race. Not like with the rest of your life. Quote. Worked out okay. I enjoyed the 10K and we've been married 11 years now. I hear a lot of these stories where the guy does something dumb and then it ends with "We've been married X years now. Is this what I'm doing wrong? Act dumber, damn it." I had a kind of terrifying German professor for biochemistry. He was trying to make the class associate camp cyclic AMP with a starvation state. In a thick German accent, he said, because when you go to camp, we take away your food. He changed his wording the year after. Oh damn. I'm from Germany and we used to have a geography teacher who always shortened climate zone to KZ, which is the extremely common abbreviation for concentration camp. And he went on to ask us things like, "So, which KZs do we have in Europe?" Quote. To which I responded, "Well, there's Auschwitz, Buchenwald, Sachsenhausen." He still didn't get it and I had to explain it to him afterwards. Thankfully he was a super chill guy. Was the teacher not from Germany? Because if not, that's less of an oof. Nope, he was German. When my now husband and I were first dating, I was giving him a blowjob once. He was laying down on his back and I was sitting up in front of "Hi monsieur, I have extremely weak wrists, and having to support myself while doing this started to hurt." He says to me, "Oh, well, what you need is a whale sling." Quote. What he intended was it holds you up without having to use your arms so it wouldn't hurt my wrists. What he said was, you need something to support a fucking whale, to a woman who is actively giving him head. It's been years and I still give him a hard time about it. It was at that moment they knew they were destined for each other. Working day shift at the school university pub, mostly serving waters and coffee. The occasional beer. One of our regulars comes in before noon and shoots a double Jameson. That will put some hair on your chest, I tell him. Honestly impressed. I doubt it, says the kid and goes to play pool. Found out later he had alopecia. I am a lawyer and was prepping my client for her deposition. Spoke for a while. Things are going smoothly. She asked if she should be nervous. I said, it's nothing to pull your hair out over. Client showed me her head. She is bald, lost all her hair to lupus. I died inside. That's instant regret right there. During a vacation to my hometown, I ran across an old high school friend who was always determined to become a cardiologist. I jokingly greeted him with, "What's up, doc?" Quote. During drinks later that night, he sadly told me he was rejected from all of his med school choices for the last 2 years and was currently working as a manager for a shoe store. But your words that day reminded him of his dreams and gave him the motivation to try again, and this time he succeeded and became the cardiologist he was destined to become. Right, it's funny. We were both sharing misery that day because I was sort of in the same boat as him. Except I wanted to be a neurologist but ended up working in public health care. Well, with this whole quarantine, we've both had time to really study and prep for the MCAT. So we're hoping to apply to med schools this cycle. We're both irregular applicants, so we text each other encouragement. So we kinda ended up motivating each other. Asterisk 9-year-old me after learning that fat is an insulator. Auntie, can we close the window? I'm cold. Aunt, but I'm not cold. 9 Wyoming. That's because you have a layer of fat to keep you warm. When I was first dating my wife, we were goofing around and I pulled a blanket up to under her eyes. I sat back, looked at her and said, "You'd look great in a burqa." Quote. This was my dumbass way of saying, "You have pretty eyes." But instead it came off, "You'd look good if most of your face was covered." Out of all the comments in the thread, this one made me laugh the hardest. It sounds like something any of the men in my family would say. Context. I have trichotillomania, which is a condition where I feel a compulsive urge to pull out my hair. It comes and goes in cycles. So sometimes I have a mostly full head of hair, and other times I've ripped my scalp bald. During those times, I rely on wigs until my hair grows back. The scene. At parent-teacher conferences. I teach 7th, 8th grade English. Parent. Gosh, I know that this age is so hard. Hormones, drama, body odor. These guys would have me ripping my hair out. Me. Pulls off wig. You have no idea. What was the reaction to this? Surprise. Then laughter. I don't keep it a secret to my students that I wear a wig. And I think the parent had just forgotten about it. In any case, the joke went over really well, and when the kids came back on Monday, his daughter said, "My dad told me about what you did with your hair. He thought it was funny, so hopefully, he wasn't embarrassed or worried he'd said the wrong thing." Husband was in hospice care, dying from congestive heart failure. He was non-responsive and had days left at best. I took a small break and made an appearance at the church choir Christmas party, just to check in. A few people were speaking with me, comforting me, and offering prayers. One of the members, a lady with no forethought and no filters, overheard. She said, "You mean he's not dead yet?" Quote. I know that what she meant was, "Oh, dear, is this still dragging on? He's still suffering." But that's not what she said. She had the grace to apologize. But I've never forgotten it. That's literally the worst thing to hear before death. I was set up on a blind date. The girl shows up and only has one leg. No big deal. She's cute and fun. As the night goes on, she gets really goofy, borderline crazy. I asked her, "You're not all there, are you?" Quote. She pointed at her stump and said, "Nope." Hey, at least she took it in stride. She really knows how to put her best foot forward. I used to be a portrait photographer, and this family came in wearing sports t-shirts. Don't recall the sporter team. It was a mom, dad, and like a maybe 3-year-old girl. I tried to ask the girl to do that thing where people punch their shirt to hold it out so the logo is flat, but I stupidly said, "Pull your shirt up." I immediately said, "Wait, no, please don't do that. That isn't what I meant." The mom got awkward and I felt really awful. I'm a woman, so thankfully it probably wasn't as creepy as it could have been. I can only imagine how much trouble a man would have gotten into. Oh dude, it was for a church directory company also. That would have been a wrap on my job. No question. With that record you might be able to land a different photography job. One time at work I was riding around on one of those rascal scooters. Leg injury. And a female coworker saw me and said, "I want a ride." Quote. I meant to reply with something flirty like, "Hop on. I'll give you a lift," with a wink. That's what I meant to say. What came out of my mouth was, "Sit on my lap." No charm, monsieur, no elegance. Didn't even sound funny. Sit on my lap, of course. She went, no. I wanted to fucking kill myself. My now best friend's dad passed away when she was 11. We went to high school together but weren't really that close. Anyways, she was known to be nerdy and always got the best grades. One time she got AC and I made some comment which involved her dad. It wasn't offensive but simply me not being aware her dad is not around anymore. She just stared at me. She didn't look angry or mad or sad or anything, just looking at me. Some of our mutual friends informed me that her dad is deceased, and let's just say I didn't want to be alive in that moment. As soon as the class ended, I went up to her and apologized while hugging her as tight as I could. Of course she understood that I had no idea about her dad and never held this against me, but I still feel bad for this. I just want to say, I'm actually proud of you for apologizing. Some guys just double down. But you messed up. But you made up for it? Worked in a kitchen where we played a goofy game of You're a. Just banter usually. Like, hey advocatus, you got that steak ready? And I'd reply, you're a steak. Stupid. I know. My assistant manager, woman, is on the line breaking down the grill station. She takes some inserts off to cool down. She says, advocatus, careful of these hot inserts. Without thinking, I reply, you're a hot insert. It was out of my mouth before I realized what I'd even said. I immediately apologized. Are you a drunk lawyer? I've already said this before. I mixed up thank you ma'am and thank you very much and said thank you mom to the bank teller. No problem, son. I was working fast food and just put the old hot pressure fryer oil in a grease shuttle. I laid the shuttle on the floor in front of the ice maker and went up front to help coordinate orders. While I was helping, a female employee went to fill the ice bins and stood over the hot grease shuttle while filling her ice bucket. In a quick panic, I was concerned she could potentially burn herself. I quickly replied, be careful. That thing between your legs is really hot. She slowly looked up at me and asked, what? I immediately realized what I had just said. I felt the need to rephrase that as carefully as I could. That could have been bad. Ice cubes into hot oil is a quick and easy way to make a hot oil explosion. English is not my first language. I was talking to an English-speaking person about the funeral of her mother. I wanted to say and lay her body to rest. I used the word cadaver. I said and lay her cadaver to rest. I am Mexican, Spanish native speaker. My American girlfriend texted me, we should see other people. I kinda kept thinking that meant something like implying a threesome or foursome or something like that. Oh no, I can totally see how you could misinterpret that though. How long did this miscommunication go on? Just like a day. She stopped responding to my texts until I talked with another friend who eventually enlightened me of what was going on. A man came to the bank asking to do a transfer. I told him he can use the self-service machine for that, which is touch screen. He gave me this dude. Really? Look. That's when I noticed he has no arms. I used to work in a community service office where we would assign clients a place to complete their court-ordered community service. Some of those places had options for light-duty work for people who were elderly, disabled, pregnant, etc. One time I checked in a client, got all of his personal information, and sent him to a case manager to get assigned. I immediately hear her say, okay, so you're gonna need a light-duty site, and I thought that was really weird because he was young and in shape. I look over and realize he only has one arm. Monsieur, I managed to talk to him for like 5 to 10 minutes and not realize his arm was missing. The doctor was squeezing my balls and asking if it hurt, and I said, no, it feels good. Out in the field, had a wobbly pair of binoculars and SGT. With a lazy eye, he asked to use them, and I warned him, they're kinda wobbly, making me go cross-eyed. Just awkward silence. Was once interviewing for a job and I attempted to say the word pedestal but instead used the word pedophile. I froze. The person I was interviewing with gave me a bit of a perplexed look, and so I decided to clarify to him what I meant to say. But instead of simply clarifying that, I misspoke and used the wrong word. My next words were, I'm sorry. I don't touch children. Wasn't the worst interview I ever had. I saw a Facebook post saying, John Cena surprises kid with cancer on his birthday. That was on cursed comments and had the Joker saying, "Very poor choice of words." Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.